Urho and the new puppy basket. Urho loved his puppy basket. It was soft, cozy, and had been his favorite spot ever since he came home as a tiny puppy. Every night, after a day full of adventures, Urho would curl up in his basket, snuggling into the blankets that smelled like home. But as Urho grew, his basket stayed the same. His golden paws began to stretch out beyond the edges, and his tail hung over the side. No matter how much Urho had grown, he was determined to fit in that basket. It was his, after all. One morning, Satu walked into the living room and couldn't help but laugh. There was Urho, all curled up, but his head was resting on the floor, and his legs stuck out at funny angles. "Oh, Urho," Satu giggled, "I think it's time for a bigger basket." Urho blinked up at her, puzzled. This was his basket, the one he'd had since he was a tiny puppy. Why would he need a new one? That afternoon, Satu and Erasmus went out to buy Urho a brand new basket. This one was much bigger, just as soft and even cozier than the old one. They placed the new basket right beside his old one, curious to see what Urho would do. Urho sniffed the new basket cautiously. It was big and fluffy, but it wasn't his puppy basket. He gave it a little nudge with his nose, then turned and climbed back into his old familiar basket, even though it was much too small. He wriggled around, trying to make himself comfortable, but his paws hung over the edges, and his back legs stuck out. Still, it was his, and that's where he wanted to be. Satu knelt beside him and stroked his fur gently. "I know you love your old basket, Urho, but sometimes we outgrow things. It's okay to try something new. I think you'll like your new basket just as much." Urho's ears perked up and he sniffed the new basket again. Slowly, he climbed out of his old basket and padded over to the new one. At first, it felt big and unfamiliar, but as he circled around inside, he began to notice how soft it was. And it was so spacious. He could stretch out his paws without anything hanging over the edge. Urho curled up in the center of the new basket. It was cozy, warm, and perfect for him. He wagged his tail happily, realizing that the new basket wasn't just nice, it was actually better. Satu smiled as she watched him settle into his new bed. "See, Urho, change isn't so bad after all." Urho gave a contented sigh and rested his head on the soft cushion, already drifting into a peaceful nap. He had learned that sometimes, even though it's hard to let go of what's familiar, change can bring something even better.